Was Gaara an Uzumaki? But before we get into that, why don't you make me happy by liking this video, subscribing to the page, and hitting that noti bell. I'm sorry, the puns are awful. In terms of Naruto theories, I'd say this is one of the most talked about ones because it's right in your face. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the Uzumakis are known worldwide, or I guess continent-wide, for their red hair. Take a look at Mito Uzumaki, Kushina Uzumaki, and Gaara Uzumaki. Every single one of them has distinct deep red hair. In fact, the only Uzumaki we know of without red hair is Naruto, because he inherited his blonde hair from his father, Minato. And now I know what you're saying already.
Well, what about the other people with red hair not named Gaara, like Sasori or Karui or
Tayuya? Was that her name? The flute girl from the Sound Village 5. She lost to a 13-year-old Shikamaru. I'm not too worried about her. And yes, you would be right. There is a lot of red-haired people in Naruto who may or may not have ties to the Uzumaki. But there's more about Gaara than the fact that his hair is red that makes me believe that he is in fact an Uzumaki. In fact, the prevalence of people with red hair living in the village hidden in the sand, like Sasori and Rasa, Gaara's father, actually points to Gaara being an Uzumaki more than anything else. Let's do a quick step back in the Uzumaki clan lineage / history. Uzumakis are close relatives of the Senju and formed their own village where they lived prior to the First Great Ninja War in the village called the Village Hidden in the Waterfalls. In fact, the symbol for the village hidden in the waterfalls is actually the swirl you see on the back of Jonin vests. This is because the Uzumakis and the Senjus had a very close relationship, and obviously the Senjus were the founders of the village hidden in the leaves. But because the Uzumakis had the adamantite chains, the ability that allowed them to seal tailed beasts one-on-one, and an incredible chakra reserve that allowed them to live much longer than the average human life expectancy, a lot of hidden villages were afraid of them. And by a lot of them, I mean 4 out of the Great 5. And so, prior to the First Great Ninja War, 4 of the Great 5 ninja villages, those being all 4 that weren't the Hidden Leaf, teamed up together in order to kill the Uzumaki clan. And it's stated that the Hidden Leaf wasn't in on this coup and just couldn't get there in time in order to back up the Uzumaki clan. But I believe that the Hidden Leaf was on it so they could control the Uzumaki bloodline, which could probably overthrow their village at any given point. This makes a lot of sense if you consider what happens after this massacre, that Hashirama goes around and finds all of the nine tails that are running about and gives them away to different villages to encourage peace, because he is now the only person who can bind tailed beasts now that the Uzumaki are gone. But I will be making a full video on the Uzumaki clan massacre and the conspiracies that go around it. But for the moment, that's what you need to know. The Uzumaki clan is no longer located in the clan hidden in the waterfalls. Wait, shit, it's not the waterfalls. It's the whirlpools. I'm sorry, it's the whirlpool. That's why it's a whirlpool. I'm dumb. I'm also dangerously sick right now. Anyways, because of the massacre in the village hidden in the whirlpools, the Uzumaki were spread about everywhere. Some were captured and taken to large hidden villages like the Leaf in order to be used as Jinchurikis down the line, cough cough, Kushina. And who are we to assume that the village hidden in the sand didn't do the exact same thing that the village hidden in the Leaf did? Think about it. Sasori, Rasa, and Gaara, all 3 incredibly powerful ninja. Sasori, the best puppet master of all time, able to keep chakra strings on 300 incredibly complicated man-made puppets. Be a lot easier if, you know, he had an insane reserve of chakra and had a inherent ability to control things via chains and or strings. But if you think that one's a stretch, let's sit back and talk about Rasa, the 4th Kazekage, also known as Gaara's father. Had red hair and a magnetic release Kekkei Genkai that allowed him to control gold dust. Now, do Uzumakis have an inherent magnetic release Kekkei Genkai? No, they don't. The only Uzumaki clan specific jutsu is the adamantite chains. But Using a magnetic release Kekkei Genkai over a long period of time is incredibly chakra depleting, and if you think about it, Rasa doesn't have the mother's defense that Gaara has, so simply using his stuff to defend him, his gold to defend him that is, would be incredibly chakra depletive, unless of course he had an insane amount of chakra. But here's the thing with the problem with Rasa being an Uzumaki, and I fully understand this is a possible hole in the theory, but that would also imply that Temari and Kankuro were also at least half Uzumaki, with their mother being the same mother as Gaara, which actually brings us to their mother, Karua, a no-named woman who hails from the Kazekage clan and has brown hair that somehow none of her children got. Like, really, what in the genetics happened with the Kazekage clan? Like, Gaara's got red hair, Kankuro's got black, and Tamari's got blonde. Her father has red and her mother has brown. Like, I have a hard time believing they all came from the same set of parents, but it is said that they all do, and so until further evidence comes out that says that they don't have the same parents, I just have to sigh and accept that they just flew in the face of genetics. But Karua's presence actually helps corroborate the fact that Gaara isn't Uzumaki, because she would represent the half of him that is not Uzumaki, which is why he isn't able to use adamantite chains. Her presence would also explain, I guess, why Temari and Kankuro don't have red hair, though Gaara does. But the biggest and clearest point that you can point at and be like, this is why Gaara isn't Uzumaki, actually has to do with Karua, most specifically her death. Rasa wanted to implant Shukaku into Gaara while he was still in Karua's womb. Karua rallied against this, not wanting Gaara to have to deal with the burden of Shukaku, but he was the Kazekage and he got his way. But why would Rasa want that? It's been known village-wide in the sand that having Shukaku as a Jinchuriki is an absolute nightmare. The first Jinchuriki of Shukaku was a monk who sat in solitary confinement his entire life. And all other Jinchuriki after him weren't able to sleep. They were driven insane by Shukaku. So why would Rasa want his son, outside of just being a general dirtbag, to be the Jinchuriki for Shukaku? Because it's what they were brought to the hidden sand to do. Just like with the hidden leaf, Rasa, his parents and his entire lineage were in the hidden sand to harbor the tailed beasts of the village. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, because Gaara, although tortured by the existence of Shukaku, was an incredible match for Shukaku as a Jinchuriki. In fact, he was the first perfect Jinchuriki we ever saw, being able to manifest Shukaku fully, even though it was kind of in the form of Shukaku taking over his body when he falls asleep. And he could do this at a very young age. And lastly, think about the fact that the Kazekage clan is called the Kazekage clan. None of the members who descend from the Kazekages have a last name outside of the Kazekage. Almost as though they're erasing the last names from those that they bring into the Kazekage clan in order to cover up what they're doing. In summary, it's about a lot more than the fact that Gaara has red hair. It's about the fact that he has the incredible chakra reserves to use Shukaku's sand in order to catch C3 bombs from Deidara and protect the entire hidden sand village. It's about the fact that he can use his perfect defense in the form of his mother's possible senjutsu chakra manipulating his sand with her will. It's about the fact that he was a perfect Jinchuriki for Shukaku at a young age, almost like he was an Uzumaki who were genetically farmed in order to be perfect Jinchurikis. Without the massive assistance of huge wells of chakra, Gaara wouldn't have been able to control as much sand as he did. I know he's able to control his sand through Shukaku's blessing, but that's not always using his chakra, especially after Shukaku is taken out of him. Yes, he's still able to control sand because him and Shukaku's bond was so deep, but he can no longer access Shukaku's chakra, which means everything that we see after the Akatsuki arc when Shukaku is taken out of him in terms of his sand manipulation, i.e. the war arc feats, you know, when he catches a moon that Madara throws at them, that was all his chakra. And there is very few people who would have had enough chakra in order to accomplish that feat outside of clans with chakra reserves big enough for it, i.e. the Senjus or the Uzumakis. So yes, is the red hair a red flag? Sort of, but there's also many other reasons that point to the fact that Gaara is in fact an Uzumaki, but probably doesn't even know it himself, since the Kazekage clan works in order to erase the backgrounds of those they bring into it. You know what else we don't talk about enough? The fact that his mother is able to control sand from the grave. Like, do we have poltergeists in the Naruto universe? I understand that we have a god of death who can pull your soul out of your body and pull you into a limbo dimension to make you fight whoever pulled you in there for the rest of your life. But how the bleep is his mother altering the sand from the other side? I forgot you couldn't say the F word on this app. Just like how you shouldn't forget to like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell, because we post 3 times a week about anime on this page, and if you like anime, then you just found a new plug for a little bit of content. I'm not saying that Gaara is an Uzumaki for sure, but every other Uzumaki in Naruto got a terrible haircut in Boruto, so you make the connection.